Welcome to the OLL Show, and tonight it's a special occasion because we're here for the leaving drinks of the former Xbox CEO. Was he the CEO? I can't remember what his official job title was, but the head of Xbox has left. And so I am joined by Mike, Chaney and Jack to discuss this exciting news. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen? How are we all?
Well, thank you.
Good. We've got Chaney here for the first time in how long, Chaney?
Nearly 2 months, I believe.
A little while.
Yes, quite a short while.
Well, it's great to have you back. How are you, Jack?
Good.
Excellent.
I put a bit too much whiskey in my drink, but I'm good.
I took too much whiskey in your drink. You'll be all right, mate. You're fine. And how about you?
It's too much. It's too much misky for those on TikTok.
Sorry, too much misky.
Misky, it's all right. We're not broadcasting this one on TikTok. It's all good. And Mike, you've been under the weather, haven't you? But you've made it here. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. My life's always busy, but I always figure it out. I always carve out the time. I get there.
Oh my god.
Joys of being a parent.
Absolutely.
And the rest of it.
Right. Hello, Kisra in the chat. How are we all this evening? I can see we've got some viewers as well. Excellent. So we can crack on and start talking about some stuff, can't we? Let me know if the background music is a little bit loud, because I've had to reset some volume settings today. But yeah, tonight we're going to talk about, excuse me, we're just going to reminisce about Xbox, really. Our general thoughts on it. Whether or not each of us have played Xbox consoles, what our experiences of it are, any favourites, any memories, and basically what we think of the news that we're going in a new direction now with the new CEO, yeah, could be a lot going on in the future for Xbox, or there might not. I don't know. We just don't know yet. So now is the time for us to sit here and speculate and dream of a distant future in which Xbox finally recovers. So I guess my first question for you guys is, what was the first experience that you guys had of Xbox, if any? If not, I've got plenty, because I was there on day one, or even before, technically. So I'd like to know what your experiences are. Would anyone like to go first? Or do we want to talk about our drinks as well? Because we have all bought drinks, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go around the table. Who's going to go first?
You go first, John. Go on.
All right.
Yeah.
To be fair, I haven't made this drink. This has been made for me by Emily. I have here a Bahama Mama cocktail, which is pineapple juice, orange juice, and rum and coconut rum. Dark rum and white rum. Anyway, it's also a slight tribute to the return of Scrubs coming back onto TV this week as well. So I've got my Bahama Mama. I've got a little cherry in it as well. So
I've got thoughts about that as well, but that's not the right show to be jumping on the bandwagon.
We can talk a bit about Scrubs instead, but we can make it a Scrubs special if you want. I'm well up for that. I literally based my entire life teachings on Dr. Cox. So
yeah, that's true. You do remind me of Dr. Cox, actually, to be fair.
Wow. No, thanks.
I'll keep it very short and sweet. Some things should remain dead, and some things should not be brought back. Some things should be left for nostalgia, and one of those things is Scrubs.
Oh, well, I generally agree with those sentiments, Chaney, but I'm willing on this occasion, because Scrubs is one of my favourite sitcoms, I am willing to give them a chance on it. So okay. I've got my fingers crossed. But then I say that whenever a new Star Trek comes along, to be fair, and you know I've been burned before, so I totally understand your point of view on that one. Mike, have you got a drink tonight, mate?
Yeah, so
we've got cough mixture.
Interesting enough, I was for some reason got it in my head that there was some weird anti alcohol thing on the stream. So what I've done is I've taken wine, because it's the only thing I have in the house, and poured it into a Coke can.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Bless him.
So.
And how about you, Jack?
I have, so Molly and I, Little Coke, right? Little Coke Zero.
Do you mean Vive? Vive Zero.
Cola Double X or whatever. £2.50 for 6 2-litre bottles. So I've got that with some honey whiskey that I had left over from Christmas, and it's probably I've probably got a triple in here, but it's delightful, and I will toast Phil Spencer delightfully. Also in a cup that Molly's sister got me and her. It says Papa, and then she's got one that says
I
Mama.
couldn't see the P. I thought it said ape. I was like, what?
No, Papa.
Okay, let's check in with the chat. Has anybody else brought any drinks to the stream tonight? Polly Comical's joined in. Emily's joined in as well. No, I'm coming back to you, Chaney. I'm coming back to you. I'm just getting involved in the chat. Fine. No. By all means, Chaney, tell us what you've brought.
No.
All right, we'll get back to it.
Got a story.
Emily's here as well. Emily's got a Bahama Mama downstairs as well. Excellent. WV is here as well. Only I would think that Phil Spencer's image was not advertising tonight's show. I'm going to sit on the stool in the corner with my dunce hat on. Brilliant. I remember being rubbish at Halo, says Polycomical. I was probably rubbish at Halo as well. My God, I loved Halo. We'll absolutely talk a bit about Halo tonight as well. Polycomical likes the sound of my drink, which is good. WV's first Xbox 360 had the red ring of death, and Microsoft repaired it. They had to repair all of them, didn't they? And WV hasn't seen Scrubs. What? And Whoa, hang on a minute. Hold on. Whoa, we need to stop everything here. Kizra has never seen any of Scrubs. What?
I haven't seen Scrubs either.
Oh my God. And you haven't either? You're all in for a treat.
It's got to be an old man thing, clearly.
I suppose it was sort of like mid-2000s it started, wasn't it? It
was when I was a teenager. It was sort of when I was coming into my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that, Chaney?
176 or something, I don't know. While.
Right. Well, that's something that I'm sure Kizra will fix very soon. Has to be done. Has to be done. WV likes Star Trek Academy. WV, we're gonna have to do some sort of Star Trek content on the channel here because we need to have some big discussions about 90s Trek. You recommended actually the other day. Sorry to go off on a slight Star Trek tangent here, but WV recommended a certain TNG episode where Troy takes command, and I watched that, and now I've started to get back into a bit of a rabbit hole of watching random Trek episodes. So I've gone back to DS9. I've started on Series 4 when Worf returns, and now I'm going to be watching the Dominion War. I'm going to try and get that done before Resident Evil comes out. Anyway, carrying on. Let's go. Chaney, what have you got, my friend?
So, as many of you may know, I went on a little jolly in October to Riga, which is the capital of Latvia. In Latvia, they have two big exports. One is potatoes. The second is Riga Black Balsam.
Ooh.
Let me just show this to the camera here. Riga Black Balsam. It is an original recipe made in Riga. It is 50-something herbs that are fermented in an oak barrel, and you get to shot it. It honestly tastes, this is what Mike needs, it tastes like cough medicine. So, chin chin.
Wow. Sounds nice. Sounds nice.
It is. It's like 50 quid a pop.
I am slightly perplexed, Chaney, why you've got your microphone on, but you're not using the microphone on your headset.
Because, so the way that my PC is set up, I have an audio interface. And to do that, I would need to find a little connector thing for this little jack that you can just see at the popping up at the bottom of the screen. And to be quite frank, I just can't be bothered to find it. Also, you know, my nice, sexy microphone that I've had for however long I've been doing this now. So, you know.
We'll get you a USB extension cable so you can get your microphone a little bit closer for next time. You're all good. Right, anyway.
I just need to get the long XLR out, but it's too long. I need the 2 meter.
I got some spare cables, mate. We'll sort you out. Right. Okay, so let's actually get on with it and talk about some Xbox stuff, shall we? I'm happy to go first and tell you my experience of Xbox, unless anybody else would be desperate to regale us of their Xbox cherries. Anyone want to go first? If not, I shall.
No, you go first, John. You go first.
Okay. So, being as old as I am, I was 20, coming on 21 when it first came out in 2001. I was working night shifts at a supermarket at the time, and when you worked, back in those days, when you worked night shifts in a supermarket, it was time and a third. So, I was paid way more money than what an average 20-year-old should have been getting paid at that time. And I was extremely irresponsible, and to be fair, haven't really changed in the last 20 years since then. But main point is, I had the funds to import an original Xbox from America before it came out in the UK, because it didn't come out in the UK until I think it was March 2002, and of course it came out November 2001 in America. And I remember I bought the original Xbox and the GameCube from an online store in New York called Tronics Web. I don't know how. It's weird how you can remember things about gaming from so many years ago, but I can't remember anything important about life currently. But I remember the day that the console arrived, and it was so heavy. This original Xbox, it was so heavy, but it really did feel like, it made me feel how I felt when I got the PS1, which was, you had that generational leap. It was a completely new set of games, a new style of playing games, twin sticks on the controllers, the first person shooter on console with twin sticks, or at least the first one that was significantly popular. And I remember playing Halo in the middle of the night, because I worked night shifts and I never changed my sleep around, so I would always just stay up all night 3 times a week, because I only worked 4 nights a week. And I remember just sitting there on my own, and I know it sounds quite sad looking back at it, but I promise you it was a really good time. And I just spent probably a good solid week, just like all night, just playing Halo and the first Project Gotham Racing. And those 2 games are just completely etched into my brain, because I just played them absolutely solidly. And my God, I love the original Halo game. And I think that one game is pretty much entirely responsible for the success that Xbox has had, at least up until Xbox One, but we'll get to that. So the fact that I was absolutely blown away with Xbox, and it was graphically superior. The American version also had the RGB outputs on the back, so you could actually play in 420p, which the European ones didn't actually have that. They just had a standard SCART and RCA thing, I think. But it was one of the first consoles that did HD, if you consider 480p to be HD. But Jade Empire, Ninja Gaiden, so many good games on that console. And as a result, I didn't actually play many PS2 games. So my knowledge, while I've kind of accumulated the knowledge now, my knowledge of the PS2 generation is surprisingly weak, because anytime anything came out, I would always buy the Xbox version rather than PlayStation, because it was generally superior. And because I had the American one, I would always import it, so I would get the games before they came out in the UK. Massive nerd that I was at the time. So I have a lot of love for that console and the big bulky Duke controller. And I've still got it somewhere. It's actually in the loft, my original Xbox. In the end, I ended up modifying it, and it's got all extra flashing lights on it. I remember I remember sawing out the green X off the top of it with a little hacksaw, and put in a little see-through one with a light underneath it, and I put little lights in the controller ports. It was the first time I really got into modding consoles too. So yeah, a lot of love for Xbox original. Were you guys there as well, or did you not jump in till 360? I'd like to know. Both chat and you guys.
So for me, I was a massive PlayStation 2 nerd up until my stepdad came along. He's not telling me his stepdad, we all know the story. He brought himself along in 2004, 2005, an Xbox, an original Xbox. It was, and I don't know if I should be saying this, so I'm going to keep this rather stum. It was chipped. So I've got so many memories of going onto LimeWire and downloading
LimeWire, yes,
and downloading all of the games. It took all day and all night to get these games, burning them onto a disc. Chipped is basically what
he dropped it really hard on the floor. Now it's got a bit of a crack in it. A little bit has come off. Yeah.
No, it's basically what emulation is now for
cool.
retro consoles. But it was for, at the time, games that you could definitely not legally download off torrent sites and burn on CDs, and it would play them. And
BitTorrent was just the greatest thing, wasn't it?
I've, funny enough, still got this lovely little case.
Oh, hello.
All of the burnt CD-ROMs, DVD-ROMs, whatever they were, of Xbox. So, first one I come to, for example, is FIFA Street
Oh my god, FIFA Street.
Ooh.
for the original
On his
Xbox.
CDs. DVDs.
This one is the Paris Dakar 2 for Xbox.
I remember that. Oh man, Rally
honestly-
Sport Challenge. Sorry, go on.
Here, yeah, we're gonna reminisce on some games. I've got Black on here, House of the Dead
Yes.
3. I do have an actual original disc of Silent Scope, just so it's not completely illegal. Various Xbox games, July 07.
Wow.
Yeah. Need for Speed Underground 2. Just this whole thing is just full of burnt CDs. But it was because of that Xbox, when the PS2 eventually died out, me and my little brother both went to Xbox 360, and for the bulk of our teens, that was our main consoles. So most of my real gaming memories, because obviously I've had a Nintendo 64, I've had a Mega Drive 2, but the bulk of my console exploration and foray into console gaming, it was the Xbox 360.
Wow.
And I don't think there's ever been a console that has been better or more progressive than that.
The 360
Which
did
I'm
a
sure
lot.
we're gonna go
We'll
into.
come to 360 in a minute.
Yeah.
Unless Jack or Mike were there for original Xbox, but I don't know. Were you guys? I'm guessing Jack probably wouldn't have been.
No.
Well, it's a quick segment for you guys then.
I was 360.
Yeah.
Well, at least I played 360 with my mate. So my mum, bless her heart, she heard or read this story about a 360 being dangerous, like it blew up on a kid or something. So she wouldn't. So I got a PS3 instead of a 360. But one of my mates from school, Kyle, he had a 360, and he was my best friend in school, and I'd spend. Like any time I hung out with him, we'd go play outside, and then we'd go in and play on his Xbox. We played Halo Reach like a ton. Halo 4, I love Halo 4 because I played it so much. I think Halo 4 is such a good game just because of that. And like Call of Duty World at War, like we played Zombies a bunch, Advanced Warfare. You know, I had so much fun at my friend's house playing Xbox 360 that even though I didn't own it, it was always nice to play because like. When we had sleepovers, I'd like he'd be asleep upstairs, and like his parents had like a lounge where the Xbox was, so I'd sometimes go in there and while everybody else was asleep, because they were like family when I was younger. But we sadly we don't talk anymore. But that's not a story for any other day. Nothing bad, we just grow apart. You do. But yeah, so I played Ghosts a bunch, Call of Duty Ghosts. I enjoyed that game.
I'd switched off COD by then.
I was going to say, you're one of the few that did.
If you stuck by when Ghosts came along, you're a real fan.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, just 360 for me was hours and hours of playing Halo and World at War and whatever else me and Kyle would play at his house, and it was great. And I think that I definitely treasure the Xbox 360 era for that, because it was such fun just playing with your friend, sitting next to each other, having a laugh, killing zombies, killing,
I would say you've obviously got your PS2 and original Xbox and GameCube generation. They did have online capability, but it was very rarely used. I don't think I know anybody who really ever played online on that generation.
No.
And it was the 360 generation that made that massive shift from local multiplayer to online multiplayer being, for want of a better word, the default way to play competitively or cooperatively. So and the way that they brought the way they brought that technology in so seamlessly to a console ecosystem. Sony was so far behind the curve with that at the time. I think it just shows like the prowess of what Microsoft were at that time, in that they would bring all of their knowledge of PC and online stuff to the console space. I think that can never really be you can't overstate how important that was. Now, Mike, you've always struck me as more of a PlayStation man, but what's your Xbox experience, mate?
So, I need to try to make it sound more sad than it is. But
it's something another story about your dad, is it?
I was just expecting none, and that was it.
No, so I had a very isolated childhood. Not to say like it wasn't anything. I haven't got any skeletons in my closet, but it's more so like I didn't really have any friends growing up for most of my life, and I didn't really have anyone to sort of share games with. So I was very much restricted to not only the PlayStation but whatever games my mum happened to find on like a 3 for £10 offer or whatever. But when I went to high school, I was the only kid in class who had a PlayStation 3. Everyone had a 360.
Yeah.
But I in high school I developed something called Friends, apparently that sort of bloomed later in life for me. But I had a friend who was the closest person to me until obviously my relationship. But we used to spend literally every single day together, and I'd basically spend more time at his house than I would mine. And his dad had quite a bit of money, so we had a bit of everything, like every console, everything you can want. And one of the things he had was an Xbox 360, and I've probably spent at least an entire calendar year of my life, if you add up the hours, round my friend's house playing Halo Reach, and because that was back when you could co-op split screen multiplayer games. And even though I didn't have an Xbox and I didn't have an account, I could go around my friend's house and we could play online matches. And yes, the first month I was the bottom of the leaderboard every single time. But there was, but I was after, I had SWAT, sniper, you've got, Flood and all these different, Griffball, all these incredibly unique and interesting game modes in Halo that just made it. I genuinely don't think there is a single multiplayer experience that has meant as much to me, or has, just from a quality standpoint, met that criteria that Halo did on the 360. I don't think Halo's
Halo 3 or Reach.
I was mostly playing. I played a lot of 4, but I played mostly Reach.
Yeah,
but
I think Reach had the best multiplayer, I think.
Yeah, the 360 era of Halo. And in it, maybe it's a nostalgia thing, but even like online games in general, it just felt like this perfect middle ground of you can talk to your friends online, you can do this and that, but it wasn't at that point where it is now, where it's I don't know, it's just not the same now. Maybe it's the heavily monetized stuff like the battle passes and the microtransactions and all that.
Yeah.
But there was a certain purity to the online ecosystem on the 360, and just even the Call of Duties at the time, like I played on.
So I was going to say,
Obviously that wasn't Mike.
I remember this day, and I will always remember it. It was Valentine's Day 13 years ago now, and it was a really, really shocking day at work. I used to work at a big green supermarket. You can probably guess which one.
Waitrose.
Yeah, no, cheap. And we always used to play FIFA. It was FIFA. This is when I was living in my flat, so it was FIFA 10 or FIFA 11. But we also always used to play zombies on Call of Duty, and there was like 10 of us that would all get into a lobby. And this was back when Xbox Live was free unless you wanted Xbox Live
it was.
Gold. Gold was the expensive version, and I don't actually know what it ever did.
It was definitely free to start with.
PlayStation Network as well.
Well, that was the draw of PlayStation. It was like, oh yeah,
wasn't it? That was free for a lot longer.
Yeah, Xbox would say, "Oh, we've got the better internet connection. Our Xbox is better," and we go, "Well, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's crap, and you know, it doesn't work very well. But at least
Nobody
it's free."
could use it.
On the subject of online, then, was the 360 really your first experience of playing online, or did you do anything online before 360, or am I in the minority here?
No.
In terms of like, it was the PS3 was my first like console that I played
same.
online. In terms of like,
oh wow, okay.
I was Xbox.
really, yeah, but Xbox 360 took things into the stratosphere. Like it's still the best Xbox console and one of the best consoles of all time.
I played
Genuinely
Halo
think
with
it's
mates, and then
It's
I played
funny-
Transformers at my own house.
It's funny you say this though, because I think that we have now crossed into the divide of really where the console wars started. For me, the console wars were Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and I think that's kind of emulated by you guys, Jack and Mike, going your PlayStation stands. Me and John are like, we're Xbox. But for me, that was when the console wars really started. That's when everybody in my
well, you had the Genesis and the Super Nintendo that were always going head to head. So I wouldn't say it's like it's not like a new phenomenon. Then it's always been a thing,
I
or
think
at least
for me,
since.
it was more that it was brought to the fore. Like all of my friends at work were like, "Oh, I've got a PlayStation 3," and the rest of our friends were going, "Well, we've got an Xbox. You're a bunch of
Is that
Is
not though? Is that not related to the rise of just the internet in general, like the onlineness of everything? The fact that
it would be as well.
everything was like, it's not just bog standard forum posts that people were arguing on. It was like, this was when YouTube started being a thing, people making YouTube videos and started having, you know, like things on the news and like it's when it really sort of, the internet really kicked off, and obviously social media became a huge thing around that sort of time. So I think it's more emblematic of that, because like I said, if you look far enough back, you've got like the whole commercials of like Super Nintendo versus Mega Drive, where they're very much butting heads with each other. I think it's more so the onlineness of it has just kind of made it bigger than what it was.
Also, Microsoft had the Red Ring of Death, but Sony got hacked. If you'll remember that.
Ah, yeah,
Xbox didn't.
PlayStation Network was down for a long time, wasn't it?
it was
Just
down for like
talking of the online stuff then. So my first experience of Xbox Online was literally day one of Xbox Live. I set up my Xbox Live account. I can't remember the date, but it was the first possible date that Xbox Live first launched on the original console. And the first online game supported by Xbox Live was MotoGP 2, motorbike racing game. Swiftly followed by Project Gotham Racing 2, and oh my god, it was amazing. It was amazing, and because it was completely literally day one at the time, and to be fair, still am. My favourite band, Guns N' Roses. I managed to get the username / without any abbreviations or changing my S's to 5s or anything stupid like that. I literally had the 5-letter name of / and I lost it because I let my subscription lapse about 10 years later. But yeah, I remember being there on day one. It was incredible. It wasn't my first experience online though. My first console experience online was Choo Choo Rocket on the Dreamcast. I know. It was probably not the best example.
Choo Choo Rocket.
Choo Choo Rocket on the Dreamcast. Yeah, it was the bundled game, wasn't it, with the Dream Key on Dreamcast.
Wow. Like, are you a train or is it a rocket? Like Choo Choo.
Choo Choo
Oh,
Rocket.
Jack,
Well,
Jack, you're about to find out, mate. You're about to find
Choo Choo
out.
Rocket. You. I don't know. Are you a rabbit? What are you in Choo Choo Rocket? I don't quite know. It's like how do I describe Choo Choo Rocket? Think Pac-Man crossed with Mousetrap crossed with Bomberman, kind of like a top-down puzzle competitive multiplayer thing, and that's what that is. But yeah, it was the first online game on Dreamcast, and then there was Phantasy Star Online, where you actually had to have a proper keyboard and a headset and everything, and oh my god, that was incredible. And of course, Dreamcast was kind of the precursor to what Xbox became, because Dreamcast used Windows multimedia gubbins, didn't it? It was supported by Windows that provided the online framework for that console. So that was kind of Microsoft sort of first dipping their toe in the water of the console world. And obviously it's gone well since then. So really, we actually have Sega to thank for pretty much everything. So as always, Sega wins the console war.
Whilst
maybe not recently.
Whilst we're on online stuff, I think it's interesting to point out that Xbox 360 was the first console to not only properly push indie games but also digital only games with the Xbox Live Arcade.
Yes,
that kind of put a lot of indie games in the stratosphere, and kind of around that sort of time was when indie games started being a thing.
I've got a retail story about that.
Where things started going from physical to digital, and obviously it's just slow decline, like physical stuff. But I feel like the Xbox 360 is where you started to get. I mean, and obviously you had like that led to things like WiiWare on the Wii, and then you had obviously the PlayStation Store. Just like, so it was really the thing that created digital only games, and it's had a massive impact. 360 might be one of the most influential consoles of all time in terms of what it's brought to the table.
As of this morning, I have Doritos Crash Course on the PC. However, it is unplayable because the little person is completely invisible, so I can't even make the first jump.
That'll give you a bit of
I
trouble.
know they made a Doritos game though for the 360 era. That just makes me laugh.
They made 3. They made Crash Course 2, and there was a driving game, and I can't remember. John will be able to tell me what it's called. It was a racing game.
Oh, I know it. I know exactly which one you mean. It was an off-road game. I can't remember the name of it. I know exactly which one you mean, though. I know exactly which one you mean. I'll tell you what. Why don't I tell you my Xbox Live point story? Like Mike was saying,
Harm's Way.
It was. There you go, Harm's Way. It was that generation where Xbox did a really good job of pushing online-only games. They had that online store. It was all done with Microsoft points, wasn't it? You had to buy points. You didn't just buy a voucher. It was points, and it was always like £13.50 or £12.99 for 1,750 points. So it was either too much if you wanted a £15 game, or it was too little if you wanted a £20 game. It was they knew exactly what they were doing with that. But I remember I was working at Game at the time, and I was working with our good friend Bill from previous OLL Towers. Hi, Bill. And Bill and we were the managers at the Ipswich branch of Game. And not to shout about it, but we literally were one of the top performing stores in the company. Apart from that time where I ordered the entire company stock of Ghostbusters because I got carried away doing free pre-orders, but that's another story. But we were tasked as a site. We were tasked to come up with a way of how we could basically get a slice of this online storefront, because of course you could quite easily see this is where the industry is going. Eventually physical's going to die out and we need to sell stuff. So I was tasked with coming up with a way of how we would sell as many Microsoft points as possible. So Bill and I created a whole wall chart display where I basically downloaded loads of images which were taken with a really low quality digital camera off of my Xbox menus, and then printed out images, and we basically made fake game cases and put them into like DVD sleeves for all of the online only games. So things like there was Sonic 4, wasn't there? There was so many of these exclusive games. I specifically remember that we were the best store in the country for sales of Microsoft points, because at the time the company considered them accessories rather than software, these Microsoft points. And Bill and I, we didn't get anything for it other than a pat on the back. But yeah, so I'd like to think that I had some tiny little bit of involvement in helping push it in the UK. It was quite good. It was quite decent. Wii eShop points as well. Yes, Kisra, definitely. Crash Course, Vroom Vroom, Crisp Fun. That was not the game of that racing game, I'm afraid. Polycomical, no worries. WV forgot about the point system. Yeah, that's what they had, wasn't it? Where Sony just jumped straight in with you just bought a $5 or a $10, didn't you?
I just remember it being awful. It was just such a backwards way of doing things. Now we look back on it where you can just buy games with actual money. But back in the day, it was the most revolutionary, and it just made sense for no reason whatsoever.
I think it's because they didn't want to make it. They didn't want to make it feel like it was literally an online shop. I think Xbox were very careful with their relationships with retailers. This is something that I suppose I can speak about a little bit. But they were so keen to get market share from Sony. They were so good at it in that 360 generation that PS3 never caught up, because the PS3 came along quite late, didn't it? They already messed up a bit with that. It was quite hard to program for and all that kind of stuff. That's all.
PlayStation did actually end up selling more copies and making more money than Xbox in the end.
Yeah,
well, that's only because PlayStation basically, by the end of their generation, they were pulling out games like The Last of Us and stuff. It kind of like, but that first, I mean, obviously it's not. This isn't a PlayStation conversation, but just in contrast to Xbox, the first couple years for the PS3 were awful. I think that's one of the reasons why, because even as big as the original Xbox was, the PlayStation 2 still had the dominant market share. So at least for the majority of the PS3 and Xbox 360's life, for Xbox to just completely rip that out and basically become the dominant force across video games, it was kind of a two-pronged thing of one, PlayStation, their first original version of the PS3 was outrageously expensive. And
it was like 600 quid, wasn't
it? Everything that Xbox 360 did, PlayStation 3 did worse. The online was worse. It was, like you say, ridiculously difficult to code for, so everyone would be enjoying their game on the 360, and I'd get it like a year later.
If I remember rightly, the only thing that PlayStation did better than Xbox at that time was Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they were the only
that was literally it. That was literally everybody had a PlayStation 3. Oh, I can watch Blu-ray. Okay, cool. I can actually go online and play with my friends.
My DVDs are half the price of your Blu-rays as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was the generation I was really into. I find when I really got into first-person shooters like Call of Duty 4 and World at War. Man, those two games, and the first Black Ops. That trilogy of games were just. They were just
the PS3
amazing.
Of Call of Duty was definitely. I mean, that's kind of the last era I really cared. I mean, after I think maybe Black Ops or maybe one after that. I can't remember. No, Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3, I think was the last one I played. And then after that, I think it was Black Ops 2, which a lot of people consider to be the last good one. And then after that, it's just a complete mess. But I think it's like one thing that's interesting to say about the 360, because we could always pivot to more so the stuff themselves that are released on it, was like it did feel like every franchise under Xbox's ilk, whether it's Gears of War or Halo or Forza, just felt like it was it was at its peak during the 360. Like Fable, maybe you could argue the first two were better on the original Xbox, but for the most part, if you take any franchise, it did peak with the 360. Obviously, Elder Scrolls, like you had Oblivion and Skyrim on the 360 as well.
Don't tell John this, but I've spent the day playing Forza 4.
Man, that's a good game.
Because it is one of my favourite racing games of all time. But the other favourite racing game of all time that I've got is Gran Turismo 4. Now, Gran Turismo 4 came towards the end of the PlayStation 2 era. Forza 4 was obviously the big Forza game before Horizon that was on the 360. And I was thinking about this earlier because we knew we were talking about this. Forza 4 was at the time one of the biggest racing games of all time.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a Gran Turismo, just sort of back up Mike's point, there wasn't a Gran Turismo alternative that was as big or as good as Forza 4 or even Forza
and Horizon
3.
as much as like, I know John, you're not a massive fan of the Forza Horizon games, but like most people, like that was a huge like hit. I mean, there's a reason they've made so many of them is because when the fact that you could play like an open world driving game for a lot of people was like the whole appeal of it. Horizon was
story about
really
Horizon
impressive.
1.
Go on then, Jack.
So, my dad's best friend, he lives up in Sheffield, and we go visit them. And he has a son who's about a year younger than me, and he had a 360, and we played Forza Horizon. And we we're messing about. We had some, Coca-Cola, so we were, hyper. And we bought the Italian Job minis.
Yeah.
We bought one of those, and it was like an E-class rated, and we modified it so it was S-class, and we put it in a race, and we beat all of the modern sports cars in that mini S-class, and it cracked us up for about 40 minutes. It was so fun.
You are a filthy animal, Jack.
It was so fun. We were just should we do it? Both of us, me and his name's Nathan, we were just like, oh my God, should we do it? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And we were it was great fun. I think Forza Horizon 1 is my favourite Forza Horizon game. Again, because me and Nathan, every time we'd go up there, because we go up there, we go up to them once a year, they come down to us once a year. So me and him would constantly just play as 360. And yeah, playing Forza Horizon, I spent hours with him playing Forza Horizon. It was great. So yeah, I think 360 as a console to play with friends, I think that's where it shone for me.
Definitely. I'm going to try and move us along a little bit now, thinking of time, because we've still got two more generations to even get through at the moment. So I'm gonna make a bold statement here. You'll just have to basically agree with me or not. But in my opinion, we of course know that at this point Xbox has gone downhill a little bit since the 360 days. We can clearly wax lyrical about Xbox 360 forever, and I think we could probably talk about the 360 generation all night. For me, you do have to remember though that while the 360 was incredible, there was still one other format that completely dominated that generation, which of course was the Wii. And the Wii had its Mii's, and it had its motion controls, and it had its dance games. And this is the point where Microsoft lost their way. Instead of innovating and bringing all of these new things to market, they started copying. And we ended up with the Avatar new menu system, didn't we? That was supposed to look like Windows 8 or whatever Windows it was. And that menu was bloody awful.
Disgusting.
I mean, the avatars were nice, but we did not need or want those avatars. They still exist today. They still exist. You can still track them down in your profiles. You can still do all your settings. I've got a Tony Hawk's one. I've got my avatar's got he's got a slash top hat and he's got a Tony Hawk skateboard. Anyway, but then of course there was the Kinect. Let's not dwell too much on the Kinect because now that I've had a drink, I don't want to throw up.
So, I've got.
What do we think of the Kinect? Just quickly before we move on to Xbox One, because obviously Kinect leads into the Xbox One launch.
I've got 2 points to make on this, and they're going to be very, very quick. The biggest selling game of the Xbox 360 generation, according to Wikipedia, with 24 million copies
this,
sold.
He's got facts. Go on.
Kinect Adventures. Also, I did own a Kinect, never used it, but the first time I ever saw a Kinect was in one of the Paranormal Activity films where they actually used it as the green dots thing that you can see ghosts on and things. That was actually through a Xbox 360 Kinect.
I remember Kinect Adventures. I remember having to demo it in my game store. I had to. I was forced to. Well, if I didn't, I would have probably got sacked. I had to demonstrate on a showcase evening that stupid, horrible Star Wars Han Solo dancing game. I had to play that. In front of other actual human beings. And I generally don't like people. And it was one of the worst experiences of my life. I hated it. See, Chaney's still got one.
I've got one. And you know what? I don't know where this has come from. I think this is my little brother's because he did have one. But it is in the to sell pile.
No one's going to want that, mate. I do remember though. Every store manager at Game. This was back when there were 700 game stores, of which there are now 0. Every store manager was given a free Kinect to basically bribe us to sell Xbox over PlayStation that Christmas. They would just throw stuff at us like that, which was quite nice. My Xbox One story is going to be about freebies as well. But I remember I had the Kinect, And it was ridiculous because as crap as it was, the kids absolutely loved it just because of the concept of it. It doesn't matter how good it was or not. But I remember I had one at Christmas and I didn't open it, and I took great satisfaction that I saved some child's Christmas from not being disappointed from having a Kinect because I had one. Sorry, Chaney, go on.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I had the iToy, and the iToy is a fantastic piece of...
The iToy is great.
The iToy. I just remember the soap game on the iToy. That's all I remember on that.
But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking...
Fight of technology.
This should have been decent. So why wasn't it?
Because it's simple. Like, the thing is, we can wax lyrical about the features on the consoles, but it all comes down to a simple fact of what has the better games, and all the games on the Kinect were crap.
They really were.
Compare them to the games on the Wii. There are so many games that are still worth playing today on the Wii. Name one game that's worth playing on the Kinect. Name one.
Kinect Adventures was probably the best one. Yeah.
But could you honestly say, John? Oh yeah, if that was set up, I'd totally want to play it over like Mario Galaxy or like literally any game on the Wii.
You could play it for a meme. Just for fun.
Yeah, you wouldn't play it just not for genuine entertainment. You'd play it as a curiosity, wouldn't you?
If you're drunk or
you'd play it just as a curiosity.
Exactly. There's all these. Oh, if you want to be a meme, or if you're drunk, like no, just if it's set up there, ready to go, would you want to play it? The answer is no. Therefore, there are no games worth playing on the Kinect. Therefore, it is a useless piece of junk that nobody wants to buy. Sorry, Chaney, you're not going to get any money for it.
And
not. It's being bundled in. Don't worry, it's going away as a freebie.
It's all good. WV's quite correct in the chat that they did some really over the top demo videos and trailers for the Kinect. Almost like, it was like Minority Report level of interactivity. And it was I remember it. The girl petting the real animal at the zoo, and it's like, it's just like this. And it wasn't. It was worse than bloody Nintendogs levels of
I remember it being
talking to
advertised.
Cat.
I remember it being advertised so well and thinking, this is going to be the future game. Bearing in mind, I was playing Resident Evil 4, the first time I've ever played Resident Evil 4, on the Wii, where I actually had to point and shoot at things with a thing that looked like I was shooting things.
Oh, the House of the Dead games. Brilliant.
Yeah, but I looked at the Kinect and I thought, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. You're going to see that everywhere. And then it just flopped like a dead fish. It was awful.
This is the thing, though. Because that original Kinect, even though after everyone bought it, they then realised it was rubbish, the Kinect itself as a piece of hardware sold extremely well, as we know. The problem with that is, this is where you get that distinction between Microsoft being a corporate blood-sucking, faceless entity, as opposed to being a gaming company who look and understand at the trends of video games as a whole. Because they saw their sales of Kinect, and the committee at the head of Xbox got together, looked at what the spreadsheet said, and then determined that for their next console, the thing that they had to do was to insist and make it part of the actual hardware that you would have to have a Kinect with the new Xbox One console. Yep. Thus making the Xbox One console, and I remember this because I literally looked it up with Emily a little while ago, £429.99 for an Xbox One console, whereas of course the PS4 was £349.99. There's an £80 price difference for that Kinect. And would you believe it? No one bought the Xbox One when it came out because they forgot to make the games. They made you have a Kinect on which the Kinect games were terrible anyway, and there was hardly any of them. Whereas the PlayStation 4 came out, games. And you couldn't share games. That was a big thing they had
made
to
a
go
whole
back
thing
on,
about.
didn't they?
Yeah.
You'd have had to have had a key or whatever. You wouldn't be able to trade them in. Second-hand market was going to be dead.
Trade your games,
They basically did
that video where they just went, "This is how you trade in games."
Yeah, and Sony came right back at it. But that's what they did, though. They had the same problem that Sony had at the end of the PS2 era. Sony were so assured of themselves that they had that market share. They thought they could do no wrong, and so they took their time with PS3, and they were too late with it, and they didn't deliver what people really wanted. And Xbox did the same at the end of 360.
I went from an Xbox 360 to a Switch. I completely skipped the Xbox One. Brendan had one. But the reason I skipped Xbox 3, I skipped the Xbox One, is because they were still making the games for the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. There was no, like the Switch, there's almost like a definitive cutoff now with the Switch 2 games. There was no definitive cutoff with the 360 and the Xbox One. So I was still able to buy things like Alien Isolation that were really, let's be honest, made for that third, fourth generation of consoles. But I could still buy it on the Xbox 360. So why would I change? Why would I move from that console until there was something definitely bigger and better to come along with?
I think those problems have persisted to today, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is it actually genuinely, like, genuine question here? Is there actually an Xbox One game that's exclusive to it that you can't just get on a PlayStation actually worth playing?
Halo Master Chief Collection currently.
Worth playing? I don't think so.
Because
if you look at
like PS4, for example, you've got God of War, you've got Ghost of Tsushima, you've got Spider-Man, you've got the Ratchet and Clank games, you've got The Last of Us Part 2 and The Last of Us Remastered. You've got so many incredible exclusives. Like the PS4 was honestly, I think, one of PlayStation's strongest outings. At least I think it was stronger than the PS3 and the PS5. And it's like you compare that to Xbox, and it's like even now, like it's like you can like even if PlayStation, I don't think are knocking it out of the park, but even compared to Xbox now, it's just like it's so embarrassing. Like it's just an embarrassment of like a game lineup. Like when like the only games that have come out exclusive to Xbox I've genuinely thought really good with the Ori games, like Ori, Will-o'-the-Wisps and Blind Forest. But you can play them on the Switch anyway. Or like you had stuff like Psychonauts 2, which they just released on the PS4 at the same time anyway. It's like there is genuinely no incentive to own an Xbox now outside of maybe Game Pass.
I've got the top 10 exclusive Xbox One games. First one is Halo 5 Guardians.
Crap.
Nobody gave a shit about that. Forza Horizon 4. Okay. Yeah, okay. Gears of War 4. I think they died off after 3, did they not? Quantum Break.
Nobody played that.
Quantum Break was okay, sort of, I think.
Yeah. Sunset Overdrive, which I will admit
was actually quite good. Yeah, that was
good.
Yeah, but it's not a system seller. It's good, but it's not great. It's not a system seller.
No.
Sea of Thieves. Okay.
Which is now on the PlayStation.
On PlayStation now.
Yep.
Forza's on PlayStation now.
Rise, Son of Rome.
It was all right.
It was good.
I forgot it about the day after I played it.
It was too short. It was too short, wasn't it?
Killer Instinct.
Did Killer Instinct end up coming out on anything else? No, I don't think it did, actually. Killer Instinct was the day one fighter that everyone... That was considered to be the best game on Xbox One when it first came out. Oh, can I do my Xbox One launch story?
Yeah, go on then, John.
Yes, I was just going to say Ori and the Blind Forest and State of Decay 2 were the other top 10 exclusives for the Xbox One, which you can now get on all other consoles anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah. Okay. So my story, I'll try and keep it short. Again, this is back in the game days when we would have an annual conference once a year. And normally it would be, like you'd have like EGX or the Eurogamer Expo show, that kind of stuff. They would effectively put that on just for Game and Game Station, because it was the same company. That's how big and influential those retailers were at the time. They effectively put on like an E3 just for us. And it was incredible. And every new release, they would give you a free copy of it. Every game company would, and it was brilliant. Microsoft paid for the conference in 20 would have been summer
14, 13.
20 came out 2013, didn't it? The console. Yeah. So I think, and it was September 2013. Microsoft hired Silverstone, the racetrack.
You've told me this story. I remember
because they were promoting the release of, I believe it would have been Forza Horizon that was just coming out on, or might have been Forza Horizon 2.
Could have been 3, I reckon.
Could have been 3. It
came 2 was on the 360.
Yeah, and then I think
it was 3.
One of them came out on both consoles basically, but it was the first.
I think it was 3. Yeah.
And it was the first time the Xbox One had been playable in the UK, etc., etc. And they did a little competition. They did like a whole evening, there was like free beer and everything going on, free bar, blah, blah, blah. And just basically just play all the games, test them out and just have fun. And hopefully they would then bribe us to then tell our customers that Xbox is better than PlayStation. And I remember I was playing the new Forza and I dropped my bottle of beer all over this brand new Xbox One controller. And so I tweeted from my little game Bury St Edmunds account to Xbox, I think I might be the first person to have broken an Xbox One controller. And they wrote back, and the guy at Xbox who was there came over and said, that's the best tweet we've had promoting Xbox One today. And he gave me, I won a Windows Phone, which doesn't sound like much today, I know, but it was it was the brand new top of the line new Windows Phone, and they were just giving them out. And then I went and drove a Ferrari, which was nice. So yeah, Microsoft really knew how to bribe their retailers at the time.
Hopefully you hadn't driven that Ferrari after a few too many.
No, there were many rules, but anyone who's got me on. Anyone who's got my personal thing on Facebook, my profile picture is still me having a beer on the Silverstone grid, if anyone cares. The window. But I know that the phone was, just to clarify, the phone was a limited edition Halo edition of the Windows Phone as well. It's got a proper little engraving. I think I've still got it somewhere. It had a little Master Chief engraving on the back and a little gold number of however many it was that they were made, because everyone wanted to get 117 and I didn't get 117. But
also anyway. Those phones were shockingly shite, and then they disappeared off the face of the earth very, very quickly. So
yes. Then of course, just thinking of the time as well, because we normally go until 8:30. I'll shut up in a minute, don't worry everyone, I'll give you all a chance to speak. But then once we got about halfway through that generation, Xbox finally realised PlayStation are running away with this now. Nintendo have dropped the ball with the Wii U, because again, they got complacent at the end of winning the last generation. And then Phil Spencer came along. And he saw the light, and pretty much day one, he got rid of the Kinect, dropped the price of the console, introduced loads of new Xbox Live features and stuff, sorted the store out, made the user interface, updated that a little bit, sorted out the slow UI on the console, and basically did, I think, a very good job of fixing the Xbox One to a point where it would actually function and compete on a technical level with the PS4. The problem was they were just so locked into that I don't think they had the time and the resources to then really think about the following generation. And so the Series X and the Series S, very capable consoles, of course, but they don't stand a chance when the UI is literally the same as the previous generation of consoles. They don't have the third-party support. They're not making their own games, or not swiftly enough. Some great indie stuff. Phil Spencer did some great work with that, but I think that Phil Spencer has had probably the most difficult job in the games industry, probably for the last sort of 10 years or so. I don't know if you guys agree, but I'll let you talk now.
He's basically had to rescue Xbox, and he's done a very good job in doing that. He hasn't got to a point where it is competing with PlayStation. But to touch on a point, you're talking about these first-party games. Let's be honest, the two big ones are going to be the Bethesda games. They're going to be The Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and we are so far away.
They bought them, and what have they done? Come on, give us something.
That's what I mean. They're going to be they are going to be the flagship games for Xbox.
What, Starfield? What about like Starfield?
Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Like that game that we forgot existed.
They bet on that badly.
I've never even heard of it, but that's the problem.
That game that they don't even want to port to PlayStation.
No,
we don't even want to give PlayStation Starfield.
But this is the point.
Not even worth it.
They're so far away that they feel like, pardon the pun, light years away from being able to compete with Xbox, be able to compete with PlayStation on the games market. Hardware, absolutely fine. You know, Microsoft is still pulling out all the punches with their computers, and it is no doubt.
Kind of not. See, the problem Xbox have now is they have two consoles, and one can run things and one cannot. famously.
Series S is
So
dreadful.
so what was the biggest game of 2023? For example, it was Baldur's Gate 3,
Yeah.
and because it basically was a console exclusive on PlayStation, and you might think, oh, because PlayStation had an exclusivity deal. No, that was not what the case was. It was because Larian Studios basically said, look, we cannot get this running on the Xbox Series S. Runs on the X fine, but we can't run on the Xbox Series S. Phil Spencer, can we just only release it on the Series X? And he went, no.
No.
And then what's happened is basically they did eventually release it, but it took them a long time. Enough time for the PlayStation to get some real momentum with Baldur's Gate, and it sold a crazy amount of units on the PlayStation. And they've got this problem now where they've got two consoles, and one is not able to catch up, so they have to seriously downgrade their games to be able to run on both. You know, I don't know how the hell GTA 6 is going to run on the Series S
Oh, it's not.
at all.
No one's going to bother.
I've just had an epiphany, and you're not wrong, Mike, but actually I'm thinking Phil Spencer had the right idea, but he's executing it wrong. Reason is, look at the X. That is a direct competitor to the PlayStation 5. We all know that. What's the S a direct competitor to?
The
It was a
Switch.
direct
It's just
competitor to the Switch. Thank you, Jack. So
Because
It's just
therefore, what they
supposed to be a
should have
cheaper
done,
option.
yeah, what they should have done is focused the Xbox S completely on trying to battle with the Switch, not trying to be the same but smaller console as the X. So the idea was there. He just did not execute. He did not execute it properly. He didn't execute it right. My thoughts.
We're not going to have a whole big debate about Game Pass because we have discussed that a lot in the past. We know the pros and cons of Game Pass. But my question, and I'm going to ask Jack this.
Okay.
What is your prediction? Do you think that the new CEO of Xbox, Asha Sharma, I think she is a real human. Mike thinks that she's an AI. It's entirely possible.
I said that she.
No
she
one's
is,
no one's seen her in real life.
She has a background in AI. So
okay. I misheard you earlier. Then okay.
So she all of her experience is within Microsoft is all related to AI, and now
Okay.
she's in charge of a video game company.
So
that's,
Copilot is
good
coming to
sign.
your Xbox tomorrow. Then
Oh no,
So
we
that's a
can't
good
think
sign.
about that. We can't think about that. But what was I going to say? But my question for Jack is, and we can all answer, of course. But are Xbox going to make dedicated home console hardware going forward, or are they going to do more of a PC hybrid type Valve Steam machine type route, or do you think they'll eventually just go stuff it? It's just a subscription service now, and they'll just put it on as many different platforms as they can. Which way do you think we'll be going, Jack?
I think for Xbox, the smart option would be your third suggestion.
Just subscription.
PlayStation, yeah, just a subscription. Because Game Pass, as a subscription service, it's brilliant. You know, you can pay a subscription, and some subscription. I'm not a big fan of subscription services. I hate the fact that it's just become everywhere. But as a concept, Game Pass is really good because you pay, what is it, 14 quid a month for like the base subscription or whatever it is.
it's 22 quid or something like that now.
Oh, is it that much now?
Yeah.
Disgusting. And then you get a plethora of games to play, whether that's indie or AAA, which I think is great. And I think the smart thing to do would be capitalizing on that, because they will not sell hardware. Because Sony are doing brilliant with the PlayStation 5. They just released the Pro and the Slim version. And then, like we said, the Series S is a pile of crap. Like,
And I suppose they can't do a new console anytime soon because of the price of it would be ridiculous because of the RAM and all of that stuff going on at the moment. Sony are saying they're not going to be looking at a console until 28, 29. So they've got to wait until that kind of time period where things are going to be affordable and when development is taking place for the next generation.
And they've got
So yeah,
Steam
it's
machine as
difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
They've got the Steam machine, like with the what they could do, because Xbox games are going on PlayStation anyway. They could release an app for PlayStation that's a Game Pass app, like on PC.
Yeah.
Where you pay a certain amount and you get, Game Pass games. And then with the Steam machine, it's going to be like a slightly less powerful PC for people who can't afford PCs but can afford a console. And Microsoft should put Game Pass on that as well, like they have it for PC. They should just migrate it over, because I think it's running on, is it Steam OS or Linux or whatever? So I think they'd be stupid to waste all that money on creating hundreds of thousands of hardware when they have essentially what is a glorified game subscription service.
But they always say that console hardware loses money. They make the money on the software.
Exactly.
So where's their incentive to do it? Do you agree, Mike and Chaney?
I've just had a quick Google. Game Rants from 29th of January 2026. They are Xbox hardware sales fall as Game Pass and Activision boost revenue.
Yes.
Xbox is selling fewer consoles, but Microsoft's gaming revenue is still climbing thanks to Game Pass and Activision.
There you go.
It's going to be a case of exactly as you guys have just said. They are going to look at that and go, well, everybody's playing on PC now. Stuff it. We'll just make better PCs, and therefore Xbox Game Pass will be on PC.
I could see them
That's the
doing
only
like
thing they can do.
a high-end PC package, and that probably seems to suit the sort of rumours that are going on. Mike, would you care? Would you care for new Xbox hardware yourself, Mike?
So I think I see this generation as kind of like not just for Xbox, but PlayStation as well, as like them trying to phase out physical media. I think the next console for both companies is going to be digital only. I also think that the next console is going to be them trying to phase out owning games. Now, I think maybe this is a hot take, but I think the next Xbox is still going to have games that you can play on it, but I think it's going to have a heavy integration of game streaming, and I think it is going to be very heavily orientated into Game Pass. I think the idea is that it will eventually, because I actually think for both companies we're going to have the smallest leap in power we have ever had. I think it is going to be the jump in
incremental
in terms of power, like how well they run games and stuff. I think is going to be tiny. I think they're going to be pivoting towards streaming games. I think they're going to be all digital. I think the future, at least they're aiming for, is the idea of you don't own any games and it is all streamed, because game streaming is wonky, but it is not as taxing on a console in terms of internet, but not in terms of power as playing the games on the console. So I think going forward they'll not go for a powerful console, but use the streaming as a way to put more intensive games on there. And as the internet gets better across the board, that will eventually get to a point where
streaming will be no different in terms
are
of
negligible.
latency.
You look at
That's
consoles
definitely the future of Xbox, I think.
Yeah, you look at consoles throughout the years, and the jump from, let's just go, for example, the Mega Drive to the generation after that, Nintendo 64, to the generation after that, PlayStation 2, to Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. They've all been massive, and I mean astronomical hardware jumps and development in graphics, in speed, in timings. You then get to now, you're going to get to a point where everything, I play a lot of PC, and I'm looking at a new graphics card, and I'm looking at the newest series. Is it the 8 series? I think 7 series, one of the two.
What?
They are, or 5 even, but they're no different to the 4 series, and then the 3 series before that. The hardware jumps now are just so minimal. You see it in phones. What's the difference between the Google Pixel 9 that I've got and the Google Pixel 8, Google Pixel 9, and the Google Pixel 10? Technology has now exactly. That's it.
It's just numbers now.
It's a name. It's just a name.
See,
the
you're all
standard of it all is condensed so down.
I think the thing to be really afraid of as we march towards a future governed by our AI overlords is when AI has the ability to code simple games. Because
Oh no, it never will, because it's.
but it will, Jack. It will.
Is rubbish.
There's going to be, but there's not going to be any good games made by AI. You'll be able to prompt it and it'll do some stuff. I mean, at the moment it doesn't yet work, but eventually, and it won't be long, you'll be able to prompt AI to create a simple, indie level kind of a game. There will big proper, GTA 8 made by AI. That's decades away. Don't worry about that.
The shovelware is going to be ridiculous.
This is it. The shovelware. Can you imagine? You imagine how it was with the Wii, with hundreds of developers just chucking out whatever they can bloody think of. It will be an infinite supply of slop on the whatever the next generation of games are going to be, and I don't know if I want to be part of that, but that's okay because I like my retro games, so that's what I'm doing. Right, I'm going to finish this off.
John, already exists.
We're already there.
The PlayStation Store now.
Oh, that's all right then.
You can go on the PlayStation Store now,
yes,
and play. I'm not even joking. Games that are AI and the thumbnails are AI. All the art is AI. I mean, it's like typical, they're basically mobile games, like you're the ones you get adverts for. But they do exist.
I can't acknowledge it. I can't acknowledge it. I'm not ready to accept any of that. It's just not. It's not going to exist in my world. Right. Okay. I'm going to bring us to a close quickly. Go on, Chaney. Go on.
Should we just end by saying to Phil Spencer, obviously, because that's the whole point of the show?
Yes.
Thanks, I guess.
I think he's done a very good job, considering where he has started with Xbox and where he's ended with Xbox. So
to Phil.
Cheers to Phil. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the few games I've played in the last 10 years on my Xbox. That was my last drop of
Riga Black Bowl.
I mean, I've timed mine pretty well as well, actually.
Yeah, mine's gone.
He's put out the fires, but the house is still charred and it's still falling apart.
That's the thing, though.
But at least it's not on fire anymore.
He's fighting against the corporate overlords. Now, I wonder if, I'm sure he'll probably take a break for a while, because he's been at Xbox for 25 years or something ridiculous, hasn't it? Do you think he'll come back to the games industry? Do you think he'll maybe join as an executive at a big studio, or maybe even a Nintendo or a Sony kind of a pivot? I don't, or maybe he'll turn up as the CEO of Steam Machine. Who knows? I don't know.
I was going to say I'm going to bank on it that he'll turn up at Valve and he'll lead the Steam charge.
Cool, I can
see that happening really quickly, really easily.
I theorise that he is going to be at Xbox because
you reckon he'll come back when they mess it up again?
No, a similar thing happened at Disney where they got they got basically a new CEO to take over Bob Iger, and then the new CEO messed everything up, so they brought him back. I could totally see Phil Spencer being like, and about, let's be realistic, about maybe 3 to 5 years, I could see Phil Spencer being brought back, maybe not as taking over fully, but as a consultant or in some sort of role where he tries to guide the ship. Because I hate to feel this way for a console that I do genuinely think had its the first 2 consoles. I think we can all agree. I don't think it's up to debate. Were incredible. The Xbox and the original Xbox and 360.
They definitely changed the industry. They have their place.
They can't name consoles to save their lives. I had a family member argue with me that their Xbox, they had the most recent Xbox, and upstairs they had an Xbox One, because they don't understand what the consoles are called. Because they can't just be simple and name their consoles with a number like PlayStation.
Why be boring and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Because
7,
you have
9.
old people go, wait, I've already got the most recent Xbox, the Xbox One X. No, it's not. No, you don't want the Xbox One X. You want the Xbox Series X.
One X is
that
last
one word
gen.
is different.
Last gen.
But people
wow, One X, the most. That's worse than the PS4 Pro. Is how pointless that One X console was. Okay,
at least I know a 5 comes after a 4.
My last quick question, Mike, was there a poll this week, or do you want to leave it and we can just talk about it in Discord? Up to you.
Was there a poll up? I can't remember now. I think it was best fighting game.
You did something. You did. That was last week, wasn't it? Best fighting game. I can't remember.
Probably.
I
put up a poll. Still there.
Jump in
We'll
the
have a
Discord.
reset, it's
Jump in
fine.
the Discord. It will be in there. Let me put some links in the chat before we head off, shall we? My notepad won't load now either. Let me just find that real quick. So yeah, Chaney and I, we were due to be going to Epic Studios today. We were going to be taking some measurements, but it turns out that we couldn't get there today. So we're going next Monday. So there will be layout plans and schedule plans all coming next week for OLL 26. I'm going to find this link in a second.
In the meantime,
I got it.
whilst you're doing that,
Yeah.
there is no specific date set, but as you may notice, I am in a green bubble. Okay, it's very green.
It's a green bubble.
It's a green bubble. Things may or may need be set up. So Chaney may or may not be coming back with late night Chaneys on Sunday nights between 9 and 12 in the PM. At some point soon, keep an eye out on the Discord, and you'll get to hear my Radio 2 voice once more.
I like that. There we
Don't know
go.
what I'm playing first, though.
Super stuff.
It's going to be all retro stuff that I've never touched, and I'm probably too scared to
I'm
touch.
sure that we are all full of suggestions for you. So I would suggest, everybody, if you would like to direct and or influence and or suggest what Mike plays, and also myself, because I haven't got much left to do in Final Fantasy VII, if you would like to contribute and give some suggestions, jump in our Discord on the link there that's in the chat and come and let us know what would you like to see us do on our streams. Until then, though, the next stream from us will be myself this Wednesday evening at 7:30, where I'm going to be continuing the playthrough of Final Fantasy VII New Threat 2.0 plus all of the mods. I'll be doing that on Friday as well. We have just now acquired the Highwind. We've done our little slap fight, which actually turned into an incredible finishing move because New Threat changes things in the game. It's so good. We've just acquired the Highwind. We are now off to try and find Cloud. That is it. We're now at the end of the show. Thank you so much to everyone who's been chatting. I'm sorry I haven't actually read much chat out because we've been nattering so much about Xbox, but I've read all of your comments. They're all thoroughly interesting. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and spending your time with us. Come and continue the conversation in the Discord, and we'll be back next week for another show. You will, of course, find shorts and you'll find on-demand videos on the YouTube channel as well as always, plus all of our other social channels, which you can see in our bio around this YouTube video. Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Chaney. Cheers, guys.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. We will see you all on the next one. Goodbye for now.